I'm laughing in the background. I'm glad you're laughing now. You didn't look like you were laughing about 30 seconds ago.
The beginning of every live stream is me just laughing about how
bad you are.
Crummy a producer I am.
Well, Jenny, before too long, AI will take over all of that stuff. You won't even have to do anything.
Not funny.
Hey, after we talked to Roberta and Dayna, who I'm so glad we're having them on. They're like two of the best grassroots activists ever.
100%.
But I want to show you. Have you seen the video of those Chinese robots?
Yes, I have, and I don't want to see them.
Golly, is that? I'm telling you.
But let me tell you what David said, because I think you sent me that, you evil little man.
No, this is brand new. This was like yesterday. They just debuted these robots at this.
Now, hold on.
At this festival. This
what
like
now?
lunar festival or something that they have. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they had these robots out there doing dancing and gymnastics and moves with all these kids. I mean, it is literally unbelievable. And it was live. It was like it's not AI. It was live on a stage. It is insane.
That's concerning. Jana's on. Good morning, Jana. Well, yeah, you sent me one time though about the robot that was doing those like picking things up and remember that one? Yeah. And I showed that to Dave, and I was like, okay, they're coming for us. It's the end of the world. And he said no, and he explained kind of the way. Good morning, Lindsay. Good morning, Lisa. You're in trouble with Lisa.
Well, Lisa, wait until you see this video. I'm telling you, wait until you see it.
At least I won't let him show it. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. But David was telling me, no, that something about there's the programming in it, and I can't explain it, but he was saying it's not that hard to do. It's not as hard as we're thinking it is. And it's not like the robot actually learning. And he was telling me all of this stuff. So yeah. I kind of get that, but the way they're making them look so human and stuff, it's just I think they're trying to creep us out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think they're just trying to. They're like, remember all those movies with the evil robots?
Well, here's what I'm saying. That when we show this video, it's only like the video is like a couple minutes, but all you need to see is about a minute of it. But I'm just telling you, the advancement of where it was a year ago. I'm telling you, a year ago this was not possible.
No, I agree.
Things with AI a year ago is not possible. That's AI can do now. I'm just telling you, it's coming a lot faster than we want to believe. I mean, it's easy to just shrug it off and say, "Oh, yeah, it's not."
No, I think it's coming. I don't worry. I think we.
Well, wait until you see these robots. Wait until you see these robots.
Okay, so are you pulling this video in? Whether I'm asking you, me and Lisa are asking you not to, but you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, because you need to see it.
Okay, sorry, Lisa. Turn away. Turn away. I may turn away with you. I don't know. We'll see. Crazy man. Jana says it's all like the Star Trek episodes. Yeah. It is. And JK says arrogant man thinking they cannot end up controlling themselves, if not the case already. Read Joel 2 King James Version. Interesting. I may do that. We'll see. I know arrogant man. Are you putting it in or not? Because we need to move on with the day.
Yeah, I'll do it at the end of the show.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah, at the end of the show.
Okay. And you got your Rocket Man shirt on.
I don't want to waste any precious time in front of Roberta and Dayna.
Okay, well, let's bring them in, because in all seriousness, we don't want to mess about, because they're going to show us. Oh no. Okay, well then stay tuned, because he's going to show it at the end. Okay, so let's pull in Roberta. Good morning, Berta. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
You're so cute, and your little smiley face. I just love Roberta. And then Dayna and her little smiley face. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, before we get started on the bills, we want to go over the website that don't be mad if I say this, please don't. Or forgive me if you get mad at me. You've worked so hard on this. I mean, Dayna Mooney, nobody knows the work that you do. I don't think that you sleep. Do you sleep?
I do. Yes. Yes.
Like 2 minutes, an hour, maybe.
2 minutes. Oh, there's not enough time in the day.
I mean, you and literally, I mean, you were the powerhouse and the force behind this, and it is. And I'm so sad. I told somebody the other day, I'm juggling 40 plates, riding a unicycle on a tightrope over the Grand Canyon. That's the way I feel right now. And so I just have not had a chance to really get into it. So I'm actually excited about this. So show us what you got. We want to know about this website.
Well, I want to give you a little background behind it. Okay. So it was, there was a developer out of Louisiana that brought this to Moms for Liberty National's attention. And we happened to be talking about it in a legislative committee meeting. And, it seemed like it would be a really good idea. We've got, whether it's people just having a hard time finding information, finding committees, legislators who are talking about not having enough time to review bills, who would reach out to some of us in our groups and say, the agenda's out. Can you please help us review these bills and give your feedback so we can decide how to vote, because we go in blind on so many of these.
Yeah.
And so, so whether it's for, the people of Oklahoma or the legislators, this is a good website, I think, for both of them. It seems to be pretty user friendly. We've tried to make it that way. There are some features that aren't quite ready yet, but they will be coming hopefully before the end of the month. We will have those, and I'll talk about some of those as we get in there. But and then at some point I was introducing it to different groups, and then Wayne Hill came on board with me and helped me really, get this going and push it. And we were very thankful that it was able to come to fruition for this session. And, we hope that you guys everybody gets some use out of it, legislators included, and certainly give us the feedback on it. I'll show you on the website where you can send that feedback and any questions that you might have on this. So anyway.
Awesome.
So am I able to share?
Oh, I may have to. Okay. You should be able to share.
Yeah, you should be able to, Dayna.
Okay.
Go down to the bottom, the little person with the screen at the bottom.
There we go. All right. Can everybody see it?
Okay, now you got to add to screen, or maybe I have to.
I think we have to add it.
Okay,
put it up there.
All right, done.
Okay. All right. So the website is oklahoma.statelens.org. This is the public side of the website. Anybody can log into this website and see what I'm about to show you. And I will try to go through this, as quickly as possible, but also just trying to get through it so that everybody can figure out where they need to go and where they can look for, different things. So anyway, this is the home page. This will kind of give you all the stats of, every single bill that's, currently active. This does include 2025 legislation. However, as you're going through it, you'll see some of this stuff is grayed out, and that means that there hasn't been any action on these bills. So we may see some of those as we get through here. So that's why these numbers look the way they do. I mean, this is a lot of bills between, 2 sessions. And this has actually gone up since 2026 started because of all these shell bills that they are, that are coming into play. So, but we'll certainly talk about some of those as well. But on this homepage, you'll have, here's the committee page that we were talking about. It'll take you right to all the committees for the day. You can separate them by House, Senate, or both. And you'll see it gives you a watch live link that you could just click on. It takes you directly to the stream of that meeting. So currently, if you go through Oklahoma Legislature or Oklahoma OK House, or however you would usually go, you have to go through multiple steps in order to find it. And then, it takes a while to get through all the committees, all the things for the day before you can finally get to it. This will take you directly to it. It will also, you can also click on the view agenda PDF for the day, and it'll tell you all the bills that are scheduled to be heard.
How did you find that? Listen, I'm telling you, people who are watching, you absolutely must do this and share this, because I'm telling you, I have been in and around the legislature and doing civic stuff with the legislature for 17 years. This year has been the absolute worst. There are way too many committees in the House. There are subcommittees in the House. So it goes to one, then it goes to another before it even goes to the floor. I can't find the agendas. That's ridiculous. How is anybody who's new to this going to do that? This is awesome. I should be going there every day. I should make that my launch page for the day.
I just looked it up to see exactly how many committees there are in the House alone, and it says there's 39 of them.
Okay, that's ridiculous. I mean, am I wrong here?
No, it says there's 10, like say 10 major groups or 10 core committees, and then it'll break it down. It goes into oversight, and then it goes into, all these different places where these, these bills can be assigned to. They have to go through this process before they ever get to the floor, and it's hard to keep up with. It's hard to know, does it go from this committee to this one before it gets to the floor?
Seems like maybe somebody might want it that way.
Maybe.
Because that kills transparency right there. But you have made the transparency bring about her right here.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
The other thing on here you'll see is view committee. And so when you go into that, it'll show you the committee, list everybody in the committee, the chair, the vice chair. And one of those features that I was talking about earlier is when you click on view committee, there'll be a contact button that you will be able to email all of them at the same time. So if you have issues with the bill, you're wanting them to vote a particular way, give them information, whatever, you'll be able to click that button and it'll take you, like I said, email all of them directly. So you're not having to worry about knowing their emails, worrying about pulling all them up or knowing who's in the committee. It'll show you right there and automatically pull those up. So,
and let me explain how invaluable that is. So it took me, I send out an email every week to this data center group out here in Luther, and I send them one every week, but I try to take the data center bills just specifically and look at them and give them an idea of what's going on. And I need to just use this website because I'm telling you, I just need to say, here, go here, click this button, and you can do this. Is just awesome.
Well, we wanted to make it where it was easier for people to join us in advocacy and being able to, because there's like the brigades, they actually all are, they choose different committees that they want to watch, that they want to follow. They report back as far as what's happening in there, what they vote on, how they voted, those particular details they, give back to all of us because there are so many different committees
39
that it takes, and that's just the House. So that's, then you're trying to keep up with all those things and then trying to keep up with how the legislation's moving. And so this is, I think, makes it so much easier for people to want to say, hey, I want to help you. I want to be able to watch these. How do I get there? How do I do it? And this is hopefully a way for them to be able to do that and make them feel like they can do it, where it's not so daunting, because the other way was just too many clicks. So, all right. So
if you could find it at all.
Correct. Yes. And as I said, you can filter them by House and or Senate. Or you could do both. So all of those toggles are up here at the top. All right. So I'm going to go back to the home page now. We already clicked on committees and talked about that. Now let's go on the legislator page. So the legislator page will take you to, again, you can filter by House, Senate, or both. And you'll see things noted on here about partner likes, and we'll talk about partners more in a second, but partners are the groups who are involved in this website that help bring this to you all to be able to use this tool. So partner likes, so every partner, every group gets one vote per bill. And so based off of that, for J.J. Humphrey, he has 103 different likes or different bills that these partners have liked. Now, this will fluctuate throughout the session as more and more votes are coming in, especially as we get to the floor. This will fluctuate probably, I don't know, some of these may stay pretty consistent, but you'll definitely notice some changes in these. And then as far as that order is concerned, so that's where kind of all this comes in. You can also just click directly on every legislator and it will take you to their page. It shows you what party they're with, how many bills they have, how many bill likes. It'll show you in the blue, you see how many their committees that they're a part of. And whether they're, you see on public safety, it shows you that he is the vice chair. Excuse me. So as we go down, it'll talk about, vote likes. Again, these are actually probably not that accurate at the moment, just because we're waiting as more votes come in. You'll be able to see who votes similar to JJ, right? So this will definitely be changing as more of those come in. The organization alignment will work very similar as the votes come in. These will change to know, who is more aligned with this particular legislator over another group. Okay. Scrolling down, you'll see the upcoming committee hearings that he is, part of. So we talked about his committees at the top, but here it shows you which upcoming committee hearings. And then the ones that are grayed out are not currently scheduled at this time. So if you see any that are grayed out, then, that's why there's nothing scheduled. But if they're scheduled, you'll certainly see the date and time, how many bills are scheduled, how many bills are pending, because as we know, bills are assigned to committees and never get a hearing.
Yes.
And so that's why you see the bills pending as far as the number that they are. Now, the Rules Committee, you'll see it's like thousands of bills, because typically that's where bills go to die, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you'll see like a greater number in the rules than you will compared to others, because they just assign so many bills to that one that will never ever be heard. So and then you can scroll further down for him and you can see his legislation that he has sponsored. And you can certainly, see like it's pending with agriculture, but it's not been scheduled for a hearing. So, so that will, and it tells you not scheduled. It tells you who the author is. You'll see here who the likes are. These partners, every partner goes on and they like or dislike bills. And in some cases, you'll see where, I could click on a logo, and if they've put any sort of public response, like here, Ladies for Liberty on House Bill 3124, put their reason for liking it. Or if they disliked it, then you would see their reason for disliking. And that helps you be able to make these, informed decisions about what the bill really is, because there's such legalese in these bills that most of us, probably need a degree or a couple dictionaries to understand. And so, so we try to really just bring that the truthfulness, about these to you, so you can see what they are about, and then you make the decision going forward. There's also on each bill, and you'll see more of these in a minute, where it has details, and then it allows you to go to the legislative website where you just like you did before. It'll take you to the page where you see the process of it, the dates they were filed, the amendments, that you can go see if there's an amendment on the bill, has the title been struck, like what is the status of that bill. So that's where, this information comes in down here. All right, so let's go back to the home page, and we're going to talk about the partners. As I mentioned, the partners are the ones who have joined us in this effort to bring this to you. All these partners have people who are part of their groups that are reviewing the bills. So, Ladies for Liberty, you see how many bills they've scored. You see how many legislators they're aligned with. Yeah. You can see their mission statements that they've given us. And then you can also click on view details for each of these groups. Where it says website, it might take you to their Facebook page or other social media. So if you wanted to reach out to them, you could certainly do it that way. But on each of these partners pages, it gives you information about them, contact information. The top of line legislators, this is going to change tremendously as more and more votes come in. So this really isn't completely accurate as of yet. So I wouldn't take these too seriously at this point. But certainly as we get into the floor, you will see these fluctuate.
By the end of March,
tremendously.
you should
Yes.
be taking those very seriously.
Very, very much. Yes. And here are all the bills that this partner has already graded or scored upon. And you can see,
Man.
sometimes it's just, she's this the only one that she's only partner that's reviewed that bill. And then you see others where there's multiple of us that have gone in there, whether we're trying to, get the bill heard or we're just trying to, this is a hot topic for some reason, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, so those are the partners. And you guys can scroll through them. We have approximately 20 partners that have joined us in this effort. If you have a group or know someone that might be interested, they can reach out to us. I'll show you the contact information for that, or you can just reach out to me directly, or Wayne Hill. Either one of us can help you with questions or how to join us if you want to join us. Excuse me. So you could go through here and see all the.
Let's be specific, though. Let's make sure everybody understands. So if people want to join Oklahoma State Lens as a group that's going to help review bills, then to call you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, anybody can use the website, can see the information on it and parse it and look at it themselves. But if you want to review bills, you need to contact Dayna.
Yes, thank you. So the part that I'm showing you is the public side. So anybody can access this side, everything I'm showing you right now. So will be accessible to the public. So you'll be able to see all the groups who are involved in this, how many bills they've graded, how many people, as it gets to be more accurate, who aligns with them. You'll be able to see more of that. And you can just kind of go through. We have approximately 20 groups who are, helping us in this effort. So definitely check those out. If you have questions, certainly let us know. The All Bills tab is pretty self-explanatory. Again, you can sort by House or Senate or both. There's also a filtering line here. And you can see currently that there's over 5,900 bills that are here between 2025 and 2026. And again, the 2025 bills will probably be grayed out if they haven't had any action in 4 months. So you can still click on them. You can still review them. You can still see if there's who likes or dislikes. You can still see all that. It's just grayed out because we've asked them to add that feature for us. And so that we're not grading 2025 bills that probably never have a chance of being heard. They're just still there. So the other thing I wanted to mention on the legislator page is that contact button that I mentioned for the committees will also show up on the legislator page once that's active. So you will be able to contact that individual legislator directly, as well as through the committee, if it's a bill that's going through a committee, or the individual legislator. So those are something that I'm just waiting on, should be anytime. And you'll just see it where it says, it's a button that'll just say contact, and it'll take you right to an email. So, so that will be showing up for both here pretty soon. In this filter line, so you can search by legislator, you can search by subject matter. If you know the bill number, you can search by that. If you want to search just by the likes of bills, you can change that filter here, and it'll prompt all of those that have likes on them versus any that have been disliked. And that's completely up to you and based on whatever it is that you're trying to search for. One of the things that I know Roberta and I were talking about last night was how many, education reform bills, because there's a lot of the shell bills out there that are reform. And so when I type that in, there's 104 education reform bills, shell bills at this time that we, are paying attention to because they could add an amendment and then it comes up on the schedule.
Dayna, 104.
Hey, that's just education reform. That's not reform in general. So, yeah.
It's so frustrating. I mean, you can totally see how people, because we all of us, all four of us on here, hear it all the time. Well, I don't even know how, I can't keep up with all of that stuff. I don't even know how to do, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dayna, what's that on that filter? What's that any position, greater than
Yeah, so you can adjust this by for any, it'll come up with any bill, like if there's more than so if I can adjust it here, but if there's and you'll see it changed when I just hit it with 1. Now this is not, so some of these features I have to say that the Freedom Caucus specifically asked for, because they are a part of this as well, that most of us will never use. So that and that may be one of those, because I've never used that particular filter, but you can see where it changes each time you add. Well, I don't know. I don't even know how high it goes up to.
Yeah, I didn't know if that had like the most reviews by organizations, like it brought those up kind of in order. I didn't know what that was for, but
yeah, you can see where I have it up to 7, so it's 7 partner likes in here, and it pulled up those ones that have that, that particular number of partner likes or dislikes on them. Now this one, some of them have more. That one does have 1 less. So for the most part, that's how that filter's supposed to work. But
yeah, but I really like that. I mean, because green is good and red sucks.
Right. Now, and you have to be careful with that, because some of us partners, we do have, some of us will like it, some of us will dislike it.
Right.
So it's really, that's where the public comments will come in. And so we've really encouraged all the groups as they're grading to include public comments.
Yeah.
So that they can see that, because in some cases, I mean, these bills are so hypocritical, it's not even funny that, if it was somebody else or if the messengers changed, then it's outrage. But if it was another person, then it's like crickets, because it's okay. And so in some of those, you'll see, for me, I can't speak for the other partners, but for me, I call that out. That's absolutely hypocrisy on some of these. And some of them, you'll see where, we're saying, well, there's teacher shortages. Right. That's one thing we hear a lot about is teacher shortages. But those same people who are saying that are filing bills to make it harder to get teachers in the classroom, whether it's your adjunct teachers, your emergency certified teachers, so you'll probably, in some of my notes, there may be a little sarcasm in there, just because, well, it is so hypocritical that we are doing this in the public, but then out here we're filing these bills. And so, and sometimes you'll just see where it says good bill, bad bill, they're not really giving like an explanation. And some of us, you'll see we give books. So
books, tomes, War and Peace.
That's right. So and they'll be just, we try to keep it under 1 to 2 sentences, but sometimes you just cannot. So so you'll notice that with some of them, even clicking on some of these. So like, on, if there's a hot topic one, we'll all go in and, we'll grade it. And then, some of us will have notes, and help you kind of understand the English version of the bill. So that's pretty much the website. And I mean, we hope you all find it useful. If you have any suggestions or comments, concerns, about it, down here at the very bottom, you'll see an email address, oklahoma@statelens.org, that you're welcome to send comments, questions. Legislators, if you want us to come and talk to you about this and kind of give another tutorial about this, we can absolutely do that. We have shared this with all legislators, so they are all aware of this program, and some have definitely taken us up on the offer to come and sit down with them to talk about this. So and we hope that more do. But it's certainly there for them to keep up on their laptops while they're on the floor in committee hearings and type in the bill numbers and see where the groups are on these bills. So
except for ours, because Jenny has not gotten any done.
Well, you have some on there. Yeah. So
couple.
And some of these partners will stick, just strictly to whatever their mission is. They probably, unless we have like a big coalition, like a coalition letter or something that we need to do, then, you might see more of those on there. But some of those groups, there'll be less than 50 bills because those are the only ones in their mission that they are, advocating for. And so that's why you see some that have lots of bills graded, and you'll see some with just a few graded. And so we're just happy to have them as far as, joining our coalition. That's called Oklahoma Liberty Coalition, and to help bring this to everyone. So we hope that you all get some use out of it.
Well, Dayna, as an enhancement in the future, one thing I would like to see is, just a little button or something, that would show up on each one of the representatives or the senators that would show if, like you said, you've shown it to all of them, who has kind of said, yeah, this is great, or, who's kind of embraced it, in your opinion, and gives you feedback or says, yeah, we're going to use it, or is in contact with you, rather than people that just completely, don't even care. I'd like to be able to see all the people that, have no contact, don't care, because to me, that's just like, almost like a slap in the face.
Sure. That's a good idea. I agree.
Well, wasn't there a way that, legislators can look at it, like any of us can
Right.
get in and look at what's going on?
Yes.
But can they comment?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
They can't comment on the public side. No.
Yeah. Well, that's actually probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let them comment in committee. Karen says, whatever happened to the word repeal?
Yeah.
Hey, I know. We were hearing about legislators that were going to file repeals this session, but, even if you go back, to the all bills section like we were in, and you type in the word repeal, you see 95 of them, whether they're repeal or repealers, it'll come up. But there's 95 out of 5,900 bills.
Yeah.
And then you can scroll through and see who's filed those, who the authors are of those, are they getting a hearing? I don't think many are, but
there's one on there. Oh my goodness. How did I not write down the bill number? That is repealing. Now get this. It's a repealer, Karen. It's repealing the Oklahoma Sunset Law.
I
Who
did see that
does
one.
this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're repealing, but they're repealing the things that would help us out. And then here's another one that's a good one that I just see these things come through and I'll pick out, a couple of them. One of them is makes the broadband office permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing government is what all conservatives are about.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was the greatest thing ever. I'm going to put this in one more time just to make sure everybody can see where I typed it in once. I don't want to have to type it in again. Where did it go? There it is. I found it. Oklahoma because there's a state lens for Louisiana and another one too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, and other states will be coming online this year, so it'll be important that you do it like that. Oklahoma state lens.
Yes. And then .org. So please write that down. Find it on your computer while you're watching us or on your phone, whatever you're going to do. And then please share that with other people. It really honestly is such an important thing to share because of the fact that this is going to provide transparency that particularly our house is gone. It's just gone. I don't think we've ever had 39 committees. You explain to me how that's going to be transparent, how people are going to follow bills through 39 committees.
Yeah. So each one other thing I want to mention is each partner. So as they're grading, they all have different criteria that they're grading for. Some of us, it's does it align with the GOP platform? Does it align with the Oklahoma Constitution? Does it violate parental rights? Does it support parental rights? Is it violating any of our rights in general? So all of us are different as far as the criteria that we use to grade them. But at the end of session, we will all be able to have scorecards that will automatically be done for us for the entire session.
Man, that's
So
great.
some of the groups will be using those, as far as the scorecards, especially as we go into 26 elections. June is going to be crucial for us as far as the elections are concerned. So it's definitely something to pay attention to, like how are they voting for the people, or are they voting against the people? And as we talk about some of these bills, we can talk about, some of the things that are going on with them at the present time. So, but just something to kind of keep in mind as we wrap up session, that will be something that you will also see from this website. So
awesome.
So.
Do you need to take it out, or do I need to?
I think
Yep. There you go. Okay. Thank you for that. And honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to be goofy. I mean, I really mean it, Dayna. You have put in so much work, and thank you so much for that, and for finding it, and for, just spearheading this and making this work, because I do believe if people will just, guys, if you're thinking to yourself, I don't even know where to go, 39 committees, because I'm telling you, I can't find agendas unless they're sent to me on my email, because don't forget, I told you guys to go to the House and to the Senate and sign up for the emails. So they all come to your email and you can see the agendas directly from your email. But if I don't have time to go look at those, or I want to do something specific, you go to oklahoma.statelens without an E. So it's LENS.org. And then you can look at the committee. I can't even believe he managed to figure out how you push a button and just go look at the live committee. That is the best thing ever.
Hey, that is the developer behind this. That stuff is way above my pay grade. That, I couldn't even begin to tell you how he does all that. But the developer of this program, I mean, we haven't asked for anything that he said, I can't do that, or that's
I
not
know it's
possible.
crazy. I'm in that group
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
And I know we're kind of one of the, the guinea pigs for him outside of Louisiana. And, I think so, it's great now. I can only imagine, once we're finished, completely building it out, what it's going to be like. And then, just kind of as we get more people involved, what this looks like going forward. And so it was one of those things that we wanted to be able to find a way to get more people involved, because all of our groups are the same. We all need more people, right? That's one of the common things that we all are saying. We need more people. There's not enough time in the day. There's not enough people. And so we hope that this helps us with that. So
well,
we're all a little like Jesus. Lord, please bring us helpers for the harvest. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Just the fact that the way that you can contact these people now so easy. I mean, you can literally just send a single, like Jenny, you could send a single link out to that page, and then everybody could just click the link, click the contact, and then that's it. I mean, it's so effective and efficient.
Oh my goodness. Wait, hold on a second. Are you saying that something that's prepared by a private organization with a bunch of citizen taxpayers working on it is better than what the state can provide? Really?
Well, I'm just going to go down that road. Look at, yes, Dayna, you've put in a ton of time, and then this was, kind of you spearheading, finding this whole deal, vetting it, fundraising for it. But look what one person can do effectively for transparency, especially when it comes to just a person with determination and some willpower and some work, compared to look at how much money we spend. Dayna, just think, how much money would the state spend to make this exact same product? Probably millions of dollars.
Probably. Of our money.
Yeah, of our money. Of our money.
Yep.
And it probably still wouldn't work as good as what this is going to work.
Well, it's not something, I mean, I definitely can't take all the credit for it. Wayne Hill has been tremendous in helping me with this, doing, when I haven't had time to do something or make calls or, take calls, he's, and he's definitely been huge in this with me. So I couldn't have done this without him. And of course the developer, because, without him.
Well, and all of the, and like, my goodness, the Ladies for Liberty. And, so far in these groups that are just out there constantly grading bills, that's what's so helpful. So yeah, I agree, Dayna. It's a group effort. And I know,
100%.
I know you're trying to communicate that and you believe that, but it was you that found it and spearheaded it. I'm just going to stop there. All right. So Roberta, you've been remarkably silent for you.
Which is odd for her. Boy, that's really odd.
It's because I'm having other issues over here. So I'm dealing with several things at once.
Yeah, so I saw those, that private chat, all those private chat comments. I thought maybe I was going to see you run off the screen here after a while.
Yeah. Well, I live on a farm and the animals have gone crazy. I don't know. It's a full moon or something. And I don't know.
You said you had a peacock in the yard.
My neighbors, I hate this stupid thing. And it comes over here and it tries to impress my rose bush. When my rose bush starts blooming, it just stands in front of the rose bush all day. And then the neighbors' dogs just bark at it all day. It's ridiculous.
You may need to file some nuisance complaints, Berta.
Yeah, I could probably convince somebody to file legislation on one of those shell bills.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, well, ladies, you've got some family legislation that you were kind of following, and Roberta, I'm going to ask you actually a serious question here. What about and both of you, what about some legislation that's going to help with DHS and the problems that we're having with parental overriding parental responsibility and that kind of stuff? Is there anything out there?
So there's lots of bills that were filed, but what we're seeing is none of them are making committee. So, we have to remember in the Senate, the head of the DHS committee is Rosino, and he fights us all the time on it. Yeah. And, of course, Senator Jett filed several DHS bills, and Rosino is just not going to hear them. And I think that's important when we get into, we're going into an election cycle. And it's important to show people that these temper tantrums are being played on the backs of the citizens. And these are just games that are being played. And we as citizens are stuck in the middle in the crosshairs of mom and dad's ugly divorce, right? And we need to remember that when we go into an election cycle, and to get those people out of there. And speaking of that, Karen had made the comment about repeal. And 2 years ago, when I started digging into Title 70, and we look at 1,500 pages of education law, and I start going in there and I'm looking and I'm seeing legislation that doesn't even make sense. It's so outdated, it doesn't even make sense. And so my question to lawmakers was, why are we not repealing? Why are we not going in here? If we're going to write a bill, why don't we go back to the bill that says we can't and we repeal that bill?
Right.
So that we can, right? And they were just like, no, nothing will get heard that way. But somehow we have to stop the bleeding here. So if we just stop for one session making new laws and repeal the old ones, then maybe we could get something accomplished in this state. But creating new laws, all we're doing is creating loopholes for rich people who can afford to pay lawyers to dig through all the laws to get them out of trouble. It's not helping regular citizens.
So the computer muted her.
The computer did?
No, she's frozen. It's something on her end.
Oh, okay.
She's been having
so are you saying they won't hear repeal bills?
I'm saying I cannot get a lawmaker to run repeal laws.
Oh, for Pete's sakes. Well,
That's what I'm
somebody
saying.
ran this repeal the sunset law.
Mm-hmm. Well, who was it? I bet it was somebody.
I don't know. While you
important.
guys are talking, I'll go look it up because I got to get the bill number anyway, because I need to log when we're done here. I need to log into Oklahoma State Lens and put that up there along with the make the broadband office permanent. I'm like, I wonder who's behind that. Could it be the head of the broadband office?
Could be.
I mean, I would like to keep my, 100 and what is it? What does he make? 140 ex-legislator that makes $140,000 a year in the broadband office. Okay, before we get in, go ahead.
Well, and that's what we're seeing a lot of with some of these people in our lawmakers is that they're creating positions. So they're passing laws that seem harmless. There's no fiscal effect to them, except for it creates a paid board or a paid position or something that's paid later on down the road. And then we're stuck with it because nobody will ever repeal it. And I don't think people understand how much those boards pay. So all of the lawmakers that sit on the gas and oil board, that's a $5,000 a month check to sit on that board. People don't understand that. These boards that we're putting in all these bills, it comes with a council or a board. Those are paid boards. So when you're looking at bills and it says that we will create a board or a council, somebody's getting paid for that. That's going to come out of tax dollars.
So I looked it up the other day, Roberta. We have 587 boards or commissions in Oklahoma. And the list is so long, it has to be kept at the Department of Libraries.
Yeah. And people and somebody's getting paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Are those state dollars or those tax dollars paying those?
For sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Those are tax dollars. But, Title 70 says that we will create a board for minority teachers. Do you know we have a board for minority teachers?
No.
Mm-hmm. It's in Title 70.
Oh, my goodness.
So.
Well, and I'm sure we're racist if we point out that, that along with a 585 boards should be repealed from law.
Yeah.
So when you have legislators out here like sending out press releases about the property tax and how they're going to like cut this or do this or, though they tried or for essential systems, they have to keep some of it, whatever it is that they're telling you, right? If they cut all these unnecessary things, then you wouldn't have to worry about cutting the property taxes, what it would do or what you would lose out on. I mean, considering I couldn't even begin to guess how many councils or task force or committees or whatever we have here in Oklahoma, because even this session, you see them continue to be added. And so it's really comical when you see those things come out. Well, we have to keep this percentage for, essential services, whatever it is. So just something to think about when you see those press releases come out. Well, we tried, or it'll be over a 5-year period, or, whatever it is. And then that 5-year period never happens. It ends up being something else. So.
No, and it's all the, you can't do that. It's my thing. So nobody's ever really thinking about the taxpayers as a whole. Well, I created that board or commission because I wanted blah, blah. And they always say my constituents, but like 6 people in the district even know they created the board. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, it's just ludicrous. 586. And not only are they getting, I didn't know they were getting paid, Roberta. I didn't know you got paid to sit on the board. I knew you got gas, and I think you can get per diem, but I didn't know you could get paid for sitting on a board.
Yeah, because legislature pay. So a senator and a House member only makes $47,500 a year. That's in our Constitution, right? So how are these people getting more money than that? They're sitting on boards. They're supplementing.
This is bad. I agree with Catherine. And Catherine says we need extreme fiduciary discipline. We should spend money like we're broke, necessities only. but at
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you can't cut out, you know, we hear them say, well, we cut our budget by this much, by this much, by this much. But then you create a board and all the people you just fired, you sit on that board and you're paying them anyway. I mean, there's so much going on in the background and we're saying, hey, look at this, but we're going to put the same amount of money over here. You can't cut one end off the blanket and sew it to the other end and call it a shorter blanket. And that's exactly what we're doing here.
Where's the transparency side of those boards, Roberta? I mean, is there any way that we can just see like a line item on a budget that says, you know, this is how much is spent on these boards and things like that? Or is it all convoluted? You got to look each one up individually and then go into detail. And
so if you go to the A&B budget, the A&B committees, and they pass this every year, none of it's ever a line item. It's just, we're going to send $4 billion to education. We're going to send this much over here, this much over here. It's never a line item. And I've asked that multiple times is, can we get a line item? Like, how much are we spending? If we're sending $4 billion to education, what are we spending that? I mean, where's that money going? And so it's so, I mean, it's like a full-time job to dig down and find the corruption. And then you have to have find somebody with enough time to dig down and find it.
Well, and I got to say, I'm on Legiscan right now, and I typed in sunset law for full sunset for text search. OERB, extending sunset year. State Board of Medical Licensure and Supervision, it's extending sunset year. Archives and Records Commission, extending sunset year. State Board of Examiners of Psychologists, extending sunset date. Capital Medical Center Improvement and Zoning Commission, extending sunset year. Sunset, State Board of Veterinary Medical Examiners, extending sunset year. Oklahoma Funeral Director, extending sunset year. And that's just in the last year.
Yeah.
Well, I use Dayna's deal, and I just put sunset in the filter, and it brought up what? 57?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, 57 of those. And I think that main one you were talking about was SB 3320.
Yeah,
Jenny,
I think so
the
too.
sunset of the certain agencies and boards.
Yes, you're exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I just put it right. I had that side up. I just put sunset in the filter, and boom, they were all there.
Co-authored by Representative Kendricks, Crosswhite Hader, and West. I'm not sure how Crosswhite Hader got on that one. We'll have to read the whole thing. But yeah, that's not a good bill. I just don't see how it could possibly be a good bill. We'll have to read. Anyway, we're getting off the topic of family legislation. Ooh, this is gross. Catherine says, are those the funeral directors that liquefy humans and allegedly put them back in the soil?
Oh my.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please go ahead.
Well, one of the things I want to go back to the Senate Health and Human Services Committee. I mean, when you realize just how many things that particular committee is responsible for, you quickly see why things, happen the way they happen, right? Whether it's, your state agencies, your medical provider boards, your hospital authority board, whatever, they all have some special name. But anyway, they all will fall under this committee. So when you have bills so Kendall Sakieri has a bill, so kind of going back to DHS stuff, where how many legislators over the years have tried to gain access to files? Okay, and they can't unless they get special permission. Okay, and special permission, sometimes come with, I'm going to say deals, right? Like, and I may not even supposed to say that here, but anyway, I said it. So, so what happens is, and those files, keep in mind that when they have access to those files, the people themselves do not have access to those files. So they don't even get to see those, right? So when we have legislators who file bills that want to change it back to what it was, like Kendall's bill is Senate Bill 1841. Okay. And it's sitting in the Health and Human Services Committee. He's never going to allow that to be heard.
Well, I have to ask you about Rosino. Is he? I thought he was term termed out after this year.
Roberta?
Well, that's funny. So because he came in a special election year, there is a rule that says that he can finish out that session. So he'll get to do an additional 2 years, but I think it's Senate leadership that has to allow that. And so when we look at that and we say, well, Rosino gets to finish out his 2 years, how come Jet doesn't get to finish out his 2-year term? Why don't we get to keep Jet for an additional 2 years? And so it's rules for me, but not for thee. You know?
Well, I'm shocked you would think it would be otherwise.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, sit down and obey the rules, and we'll give you another 2 years to be corrupt, but stand up and say something and you're out of here.
Well, I think can somebody run again, since his term is legally, how would you even say that, since his term is supposed to be up in November of this year, right?
Yeah, so Senate leadership can give him an extension, which allows him to finish serving out his term.
So nobody could even run against him. Do you see what I'm saying? It seems like somebody should be able to run against him, and then that be whether or not he gets those extra 2 years or not.
Because that position's not up for re-election. So they're just allowing him to finish out his term. And I mean, they're not even going to put anything on the ballot. He'll just be extended. So
now, how would Jet end up getting, because did he come in on a special election? I don't remember.
Yes, that's why we're losing him in the middle of a term. But his circumstance is a little bit different because he served 4 years in the House?
Yeah, in the House. Correct.
And so combined, he's just like Rosino. Combined, he'll have his 12 years in. Rosino did his 12 years in the Senate, where Jet did his 12 years combined, state and or House and Senate. And so the rules are a little bit different for Jet because he did serve part of that in the House.
Okay.
But I like Jet, so I think we should extend him. If we're going to extend Rosino, we got to extend it.
Well, what you do for one, I mean, you should do for another, but will it happen that way?
Well, and I'll say this too, because and this is an unpopular, stance, and I guess I don't care, but this is the problem with term limits. I mean, people say all the time, well, we need to have term limits. We are the term limits. I mean, because we won't vote Langford out of, because we have people that continue to vote for Langford, doesn't mean that at some point these people should beginning to pull their heads out of their nether regions and go, oh my goodness, he's not what he says he is, and vote him out. But what happens with term limits, I mean, because we're going to lose Tom Gann in what, a year or 2 years? That's horrifying. I mean, and losing Shane, I mean, we should be able to say we are the term limits. We're going to go out and vote. And I have argued this for years. I think that the ugly powers that be like to push term limits on us because they know that we're going to get rid of the good ones with the bad. And it's more important to them that we get rid of the good ones because they'll just keep funneling in the bad ones. Right. So really term limits tend to work against us and not in our favor.
And what it does is it just tells the bad people, we'll just wait it out. We'll just wait it out 12 years and run it when somebody else gets in there.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we have citizens that are refusing to participate in the process. And I say it all the time and I believe it, but failure to participate is not an excuse for government overreach.
Bingo.
And I mean, I think the citizens are just going to have to get so tired of it that they don't have a choice but to participate. It is your obligation. It's your responsibility to do so.
And Shelley says, no, we don't need term limits. It promotes lobbyist control. What we need is election integrity. And I completely agree with that. Love Dogs is making me laugh. Can we replace Paxton with a Jet?
Well,
Yeah.
which is all this
Listen,
is why 2026 elections are so important for
Yes.
people to know their candidates, ask the critical questions, ask your candidates, have they read the GOP platform? Ask them when the last time they read the Oklahoma Constitution. I mean, just ask them, and where they are on, specific rights, based on whatever you're interested in, or just in general, ask them. And I know, like, in some of the candidates that we've spoken to, many of them don't even know what the platform is for the OKGOP, and much less know where to find it. So, and that's scary to me. Just if you don't even know what it is, but you're running as a, conservative or Republican, however you identify yourself, I guess. But that they don't even know about that. And so they're just, kind of, it's really important to ask those hard questions that most people won't ask or even think to ask. And, to make sure you know about their campaign finances, how to review those. So there's, I know out in Canadian County, we're having a voter education event next month. And so you'll start seeing that circulate where
Oh,
we'll talk
good.
about some of these things.
Good.
How to look up your candidates, how to know where to find information, questions to ask, mailers, we'll talk about because you'll be getting a lot of those if you're not already, depending on where you are. So I'm sure that Jenny will help us get that out so that if anybody wants to join us, and I'm sure we'll live stream it. So we'll have a way for you to access it that way too. So it's important that people know their candidates before they go vote.
You know what I said this at my meet and greet the other night. I was like, here's the thing. If somebody's going to tell you they're a conservative, ask them what that term means.
Mm-hmm.
Get them to define that term. And then if it comes back then kind of like a textbook, blah, 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 it's some kind of textbook thing, then ask them to explain what laws they would pass or what they would look at, what criteria would they look at in order to make a decision of whether they would vote against a bill or for a bill. And then they all kind of sound like Porky Pig, because so many people don't really understand what conservatism is. That's the trick. They get to call themselves conservatives, but they don't get to know what it means. So just to back up a minute, we had a comment on Rumble. Usually those were coming in here. Now that stopped that. I was told by a legislator that the majority of the dollars allocated for the broadband went to companies of board members.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder they wouldn't want that sunset, right? Or they would want to make it regular. How many of us would like to have a regular paycheck from the taxpayers?
I mean,
Yeah. So I call it supplemental income. Like they're all getting supplemental income.
I think they're just getting income. All right. So are there, other than the problem that we have with Rosino, and I don't know how to get around that. Do you guys have any ideas?
I mean, other than, the public, but even then, I don't know that that's working. But
I know that somebody made a joke earlier about trading out Paxton for Jet, but we can absolutely, the Senate can absolutely remove Paxton from leadership.
Yeah.
At any time, they can call for a vote to remove him.
Well, and don't forget, the leadership can actually remove Rosino from the chair of that committee as well.
Correct. And I think that that's what's important for people to understand is we vote for these people. So our Senate votes for their leadership. And in return, their leadership appoints chairs. And so when you're voting as citizens, you have to vote for people that have the same values, that have the same ideas, that have the same mindset as you, because they're going to appoint everybody that's going to make your life miserable for the next however many years that they're in office.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say, and I've noticed it's kind of, is we're seeing some of these citizen petitions going around.
Yes.
And, I think it looks like, they're helping, really get some of these things, passed. I think this week we had a raw milk bill passed. That was part of one of those petitions. It's moved on to the next, step. But then, if you're talking about, other things, is the petition and having an effect? There was one committee, I forget what the committee was, where, the Democrats voted yes in favor of it.
Utilities.
Every
It was
Republican utilities. Thank you.
And it was for Jim Shaw's really excellent bill
Data
on
center.
data centers, and they got
Yes.
over 2,000 signatures.
Yep.
In like 2 days.
Yeah.
And yet the only people to vote for it in committee were the Democrats.
Exactly. So the
That's
citizen
disgusting.
petitions, like we see them where they do work, and we see them where they just won't even care. They don't even care about it. Is it? And then you're like, well, is it coming down to, are these people, being threatened, being primaried if they vote certain ways? Because we hear that from, some of them. We've seen it happen to some who've stood against something that was, massive, right? That they wanted to get through or not get through. So. One of those I think that's happening with is House Bill 1519, which is it's a homeschooling bill where they're trying to remove the homeschoolers from the tax incentives.
Yes.
It wasn't going to get a hearing, and then there was enough push that it was going to have a hearing. It was scheduled, I believe, and then at the last minute it was pulled.
Yeah.
From my understanding is there was a lot of pressure from the school choice supporters that were threatening to primary them. And so it got yanked off the schedule, because of that. So you're like, so they're listening to all these groups, who are threatening to primary them instead of keeping it on there and letting it be heard. I'm sure that happens more than we know.
Well, but let's drill down into that.
Mm-hmm.
So these people are going to primary them. Are those the people in their district that are going to primary them, or are those special interests that are going to primary them? And I think that's a huge thing,
Mm-hmm.
and something that we've got to make sure that people understand. As a legislator, you're responsible to the people in your district.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have one person, only one person who's paying attention in your district and sends you an email saying you need to vote for this, and you've got a special interest group over here saying you can't do that. You can't listen to them. You have to listen to the person in your district. You're bound to do that. That's why the voters in your district put you in that position, is for them to be able to have their voice, not the voice of special interest.
Mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And if Jana's in here on still, she may be able to provide more context as far as that goes. I just know that it wasn't scheduled, and then there was some push. They finally got it on, and then at the last minute, because some of them were planning to go up, I believe, for the hearing today, and then found out yesterday that it was pulled. And so, which is unfortunate. I mean, let it be heard at least. But they're not even doing that. So, just. And so, like I said, some of them that are being introduced are just. There was one I was looking at earlier. I can't even think of the number now, but they're cramming so much into one bill that they want you to think it's about literacy, but it's about like 4 or 5 other things that have nothing to do with literacy. And so that's something else that you have to watch out for, which makes these bills, so long that you can't even really tell what it is or isn't, So that's something else that we're seeing. So it looks like, I think, was it Catherine? House Bill 2992, she mentioned about Bowles had, and it passed. It's supposed to be about data center rates, protecting us from rate, because I know some of us are, you may start seeing that, whether it's your water, your power, with all these data centers coming in. So, I mean, I can only hope that would do what he's saying it's going to do, but,
Well, I look at the behind the meter bill, and that was Brad Bowles' bill, the behind the meter bill. What was buried behind the meter bill? that taxpayers have to pay or can pay, or they can charge us for the infrastructure of building these new things. So I have no level of trust for Brad Bowles in that bill, because what he did in the behind the meter bill was screw the taxpayers.
Also, I mean, with that, I mean, he's running for a state office,
corporation commissioner. Yes,
so
he is.
That's something that we all have to be mindful of. Data centers are a huge topic in Oklahoma right now, for many of us. So in our many areas, they're popping up all over the place. Sometimes we can catch it before. Sometimes it's, they're a year in discussions before we even know that it's even a thing, because of NDAs and, things of that nature. So, it's hard. I mean, those are just things you have to know about. Is Bowles doing that because he thinks it's going to get him some votes, or is he legitimately concerned about the taxpayers' rate increases? I don't know. I've not spoken to him directly. So, but just based off,
we had him on the show.
Yes, I remember.
And I think we went around that mulberry bush 40 times. And still ended up in the same place. So. I don't know. I do want to point this out though. Catherine Ann says, did you hear what Representative Chapman read during Jim Shaw's bill, basically saying that the people are undermining the authority of the elected officials? Now that's hilarious. And I want to point out what it was. I didn't watch the whole thing, just have not had time. However, I did watch a significant part where the committee was arguing against Jim Shaw's data bill. And one of the things in Jim Shaw's data bill was an initiative petition procedure, so that if a municipality or the county commissioners were playing the Italian hand signal and telling the people it's okay, we know better than you, we're gonna do it anyway, and just the people would say, please don't rezone this, or please don't put in this, and they would just say, well, we're gonna do it our way. That you could literally then create an initiative petition that would go toward, meaning the county would have to pay for an election, so that particular issue would get kicked back to the voter. I don't see how that's not fair. I just don't see how it's not fair. But here's what we've been told, and Michael can back me up on this. We talked about, how many years ago, Michael, did we talk about getting having school board members being pulled? Well, I'm losing my terminology. Recall petition. We talked about doing a recall petition for school board members. Do you remember the hell we walked through over that?
Oh yeah.
Screaming, pulling hair, gnashing teeth, way beyond clutching pearls. You can't do that because same thing. That undermines the will of the voter. How does that undermine the will of the voter?
Yeah, the voter wants to recall.
So you get into office, the voters put you in there. You give a lot of Italian hand signals to the voters. And then the voters come in and say, you know what? You're doing a crap job here, buddy. That's not what we put you in here for. We want to recall you. Why not? Somebody tell me, why not?
Oh.
Well,
there isn't
works
a reason. Say again.
Yeah. It works both ways though, because you can get somebody like Jet. I use Jet as an example because he's my senator, right?
Sure.
And you get the entire atheist group against him, and they would recall him in a second. And they could, we've seen it with protests, we've seen it with ICE, we've seen it, with Black Lives Matter, when they bring in people from other areas to do their dirty work. Even though the majority of the area and Jet's district is mostly rural, and so the majority of the area align with conservative values, but then they can bring in somebody else that's a little bit louder than the conservative voice, because the conservatives are at work during the day, and it can throw off an entire system.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't disagree with that. I mean, and that argument has been made, and I think that is a valid argument. You're right; it can cut both ways. But I just somehow I still think the power should be in the people. I mean, and we should.
Well, there's no consequence. There's no real consequence for you doing a really bad job against the people, other than the next term, you may lose. That's the only consequence. Because just like you said, Roberta, with all those board appointments and all those other boards those people sit on, that's just the extension of the good old boys system, where they're just paying you off to get it, to vote the way that you need to vote. So then they can literally just put you on, this board here or there, and then you just, you get another $5,000-$10,000 a month. That's the reward.
Right. And it's important that I don't think that it's important to change the process. I think if we spent as much time and energy educating the citizens on what their rights are as we do trying to force the citizens into a process that they don't understand. And we have at least 1 or 2 generations of people who we didn't talk about politics. You didn't talk about it at the dinner table. You didn't talk about it at home. They have no idea what their responsibility as a citizen is. Yeah. So instead of forcing them into something because nobody's participating, how about we educate them? How about that?
Well, and you're right. There's no argument against that, but good gosh, I'd be interested to see what the outcome of recall petitions are in other states that have them. I would like to know, do they end up going the other way? I mean, it might be some kind of interesting research just to see, because, while I agree with you, Roberta, I mean, fundamentally, I just see where we are right now, and I don't see it getting better, because how many videos, Roberta, did you send us about the kids outside yelling and screaming, holding signs about how bad ICE was? And these were on public school property during public school hours. So clearly, I don't know that our students in our public schools are getting a nonpartisan idea of how the system works. So how does it get better? I mean,
well, there's consequences. So we've seen an article this morning that came out that one of the public schools suspended over 100 students for walking out of class for that ICE protest.
In Oklahoma?
Yeah, Mustang.
Yeah.
Really?
Mustang public schools. So now we're learning consequences of our actions. And we have superintendents with a backbone that's willing to stand up and say, absolutely not.
Well, I'm just amazed. I didn't see that.
Well, Governor Stitt posted about it this morning. Other than that, I haven't seen too much about it. But and it was 122 students. He said, mentioned about them since they left campus, they were considered truant. So
it's just because they left campus. If they would have just stayed on campus, they could have protested out there with no issues. Is that the caveat there?
It very well could be. I don't know.
The bottom line is we have a superintendent that did the right thing. And
well, but here's the comment though. What did they do to the teachers? Because there were some teachers. Was it the teacher in Yukon who was Hispanic that said, "Yeah, I created this," and students should be able to do what they want?
Well, you know who's whipping it up. It's the teachers themselves. That's who's whipping the kids up.
Yep. You've got club advisors. In some districts, you've got teachers. They're posting that they're the ones organizing these and they were responsible for them. So,
and how come they're not getting suspended?
Excuse me.
Well, and that is a district level question. So that is a district level question. Why are you electing school board members that allow that kind of behavior? Yeah. Because nobody votes in the school board elections. That's why. And so I think that
the superintendent should be able to put them on leave or something for doing that.
Yeah, but how are you going to prove it, Jenny? It's probably happening in the classes where you can't have your phones. There's no recording. How are you going to prove it?
True, but how many of them actually, like one of you said, actually got on social media and I did it. I told them to do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was gonna say several of them post about it.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
So that's how you know, because they outed themselves. Well, those people should be suspended and their contract not renewed.
And we should be asking our school board why they're still employed there. That's what we should be doing.
Well, I think that I don't know where
again?
she went.
No, there she is.
Maybe.
She's there.
There she is.
Sorry, it's me.
And
I think
Union
it also,
High School in Tulsa allowed the kids to protest too, she's saying.
I think it also comes like for them, like if they're, if they're not suspending those teachers that are responsible, I think it also is because of the influence of the teachers unions, on this, that you may or may not, see any sort of accountability for them who've organized it. So you punish the kids, but you don't punish the one that's the adult who's organized these. I mean, so it's like you do this one thing, but then you kind of cancel it out because you didn't really punish the person that's responsible for, setting that up. So, it's frustrating for sure. I mean, there was multiple districts across the state that did it, and may still even have them scheduled. I don't know, but so it's interesting for sure.
Honest. I saw one, and I think it was one you sent me, Roberta. I was watching. It was when you sent me from TikTok, because you're my TikTok user. Roberta sends me TikToks all the time. That's true. So you sent me the one, and I don't remember what school it was, but the girl who was screaming at the guy, some guy was just talking to her about what, probably some independent journalist who was out there saying, why are you doing that? And she's holding a sign, and I think I may have gotten PTSD from the video, so I don't remember it very well, but she was holding a sign and she was screaming at the top of her lungs and using the F word and calling this guy a B word. And I mean, just off her. I mean, there was no sanity there. There was no ability to be rational or to discuss. It was just her like getting in this guy's face. You did. And it was crazy. Here we go. When I was a kid and I walked up the hill both ways to school and we had to do it through the snow. I get it. But I'm just saying, when I was a kid, I don't remember. I mean, we always had, the outliers, but we never had anything like this. And if we had ever said, well, we're going to go out and protest, that we're sending, our troops are going to blah or whatever. I mean, they would have gone, okay, good luck with that. I mean, I don't know how it's gotten.
Well, I can tell you how, Jenny. I mean, we talked about it multiple times. I guarantee you there's chemical attack on these kids through food and water, vaccine, everything else. They don't work. They're exposed to so much stuff that we weren't exposed to back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. On top of all the electromagnetic, everything that's now. I mean, I think it's pretty cut and dry. These kids have been under attack, literally for the last 25 years. Chemical.
Well, but I gotta tell you though, I'm sorry, but I think some of it is parenting.
Well, yeah,
I mean, as a teacher in a classroom, I saw it myself, and there was just a vacuum when it came to parenting. Well, why didn't you tell him to do this? Because I'm not his parent.
And this, this is highly, highly, highly influential.
TikTok.
Well,
Roberta.
and one of the things that we need to look at is things started going downhill when our schools decided to teach the whole child. So we're going to talk about bring mental health into schools, and we're going to say, listen, your feelings are valid and you need a safe space. And listen, I love mental health. I love mental health for our kids, but it's not the school's responsibility to raise the whole child. It's my responsibility as a parent to raise my whole child. You just teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic, and I'll take care of the rest. And we got away from that I think it was Barbara Bush that brought that in. That, you know, we need to take care of, the schools need to take care of the whole child. And so our teachers go through the first half of the day checking off administrative boxes just so they can get their next funding and they can be compliant. And then by the time the rest of the day is over with, there's no more time for reading, writing, and arithmetic. So how about we just take our schools back to reading, writing, and arithmetic? And when our students get up to walk out of class to protest something, they have no idea what they're protesting, then they're suspended or they're given SWATs or whatever. Send them home to their parents so they can take care of the whole child for the next 3 days.
Roberta, that's way too conservative for most people, I think. But I mean,
sense there, Roberta.
It is. I mean, you're talking nonsense to so many people
for their child.
I know.
What?
I know. It's
And we do know, I mean, actually, I guess we do know that it is a great deal of parenting, because I know that what happens with some kids, and so I shouldn't say great deal, but I should say some parents will wake up and they'll go, oh my gosh, I don't want my kid going to a school where there are, you know, kids out there screaming the F word and calling people, you know, witches and whatever. And they'll take their kid out and they'll put them in a homeschool co-op. They won't homeschool them, but they'll put them in a homeschool co-op. And if you've ever homeschooled or been in a homeschool co-op, especially when they're young, I mean, in high school, it's a different thing, but up until high school, you really have to stay on site as the parent to direct the child in the homeschool. You don't just dump it. You don't dump your kid off and leave. And I've talked to so many people who run homeschool co-ops who are like, you just don't want to know. It's gotten like a public school. People come in here, they just dump their kids off thinking that we're going to take care of them for the 1 or 2 days a week, however long the co-op goes. And then the kid goes home and then suddenly they're responsible for everything that they were supposed to have gotten at the co-op that their parent was supposed to be there to help them with, but the parent doesn't because the parent has this or that or the other thing. So it really is kind of a situation, I think, where just a lot of parents they either don't know how to parent, which could very well be they weren't parented themselves. They don't know how to parent, or they don't know what parenting is, or they don't care to really parent. They just had a kid to be a friend with. I mean,
well, part of that equation too, though, Jenny, is, you know, I grew up in a single earner.
Yeah.
And, you know, my mom was with us all the time as kids. You know, now I'm not making excuses for parents, but you almost have to have both parents working to even survive. You know,
well, unless you're going to really,
that's a big impact.
Yeah, but I mean, there are ways to do things. You don't have to have the 2-story house. You don't have to have a house that has a bed for every kid. You don't have to have 2 cars. I mean, there are things you can give up. It's just, I don't know that there are many of us that are willing to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to say on Michael, you know, what Michael said, if we would bring this state back to the family first and the value that's in having family, having a mom at home with the kids, having a husband, you know, that's working, having a mom and dad in the home, a married mom and dad in the home, a healthy home, teaching our kids what that looks like. So many of our problems, I think, would be drastically reduced.
Well, and studies show it, Roberta. So you're not just, you know, talking common sense. I mean, study after study after study shows that that's the case. I mean, anybody who wants to go out on the internet and search that can find that information. So I agree with you 150% there.
Yeah.
Okay. So is
family legislation?
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to talk about one of those hypocritical bills that I mentioned early on.
Please do.
Is House Bill 3240, and it says schools requiring school districts and charter schools to adopt a policy providing a period of prayer or religious text reading for students and employees on each school day.
Now what? 3240?
Yes, House Bill 3240 to require school districts and charter schools to adopt a policy providing a period of prayer or religious text reading for students and employees on each school day. Does this sound familiar? That somebody else tried to implement this?
Yeah,
And
it does.
the people lost their minds. Okay.
Who wrote the bill? I'm curious.
Tony Hassenbeck.
No. No.
So if you go into State Lens, when you click on the people that there's two of us groups that have graded it so far, and we both have public comments in there. Now this is one of my examples that I warned everybody about earlier, where you see my sarcasm in there because of the hypocrisy of this bill, right? Because when the previous state superintendent tried to do it, we had legislators coming out of the woodwork against this and how horrible it was. But now we have a legislator who happens to be running for state super, who is running this same concept, but there's no outrage. So anyway, so that is one that I wanted to be able to, so that everybody could go to State Lens and kind of help you get familiar with the site, House Bill 3240, and look at both, like I said, there's two groups that have graded it. Go in there and read the comments, but it is absolute hypocrisy about that for that particular one. Now there's plenty of other examples, but that was one in particular. Now the other one that I want to touch on is Senate Bill 2047. Now, for most of us here, we probably remember Senate Bill 224 from last session.
No, I don't remember that at all.
And many people who were watching probably remember, some of the groups even joined our coalition letters that we had sent out against this and, put information. Okay, so 2047 is basically the same thing minus setting up of the longitudinal system that they were, database system that they're wanting to set up. They're going about it a different way. Same concept of all the different, entities that can do data sharing. They can have data sharing agreements with all these different people. It'll still go through, what's that group? What's the acronym for that group? OEQA. I'm drawing a blank. Yes. So still going through them, but also the State Department of Ed. And so it's just a different way about doing it, but it's the exact same intent. So Senate Bill 2047.
Okay, well, we got to start getting some stuff out about that, because I will say it was really my representative's reaction to that bill. That's the reason why I'm running against my own House representative, because
who scored almost a zero, pretty much, basically.
No, 27%. You got to give him that.
All
I
right,
mean,
27.
I do want to point out that Senate Bill 224 had a paid 9-member council on that bill. That was the one thing I screamed and hollered about. That's one of those bills that came with a 9-member paid council with the option to add more members.
Isn't that funny? I don't remember that part of the bill because I was just so mad about them trying to stick all those databases together. I don't remember that, but you're right. That would have been extraordinarily problematic. Absolutely.
And again, there's no limit on the vendors, whether they're in Oklahoma, there's no limit as far as, where those vendors are. And they'll retain vendors to handle the data itself. They'll retain other vendors to do different things with the data. And there was a bill by Cody Maynard, and I'm looking up the bill number. It was actually a pretty good bill for parents as far as data was concerned. But I had emailed him about it, thanking him for running it, because it was something that I think all the parents could really appreciate. It was, opt out where they couldn't sell it. They couldn't do certain things with the data. And he came back and said that it was not going to get a hearing this session. So I was really disappointed to hear that. He was, it was House Bill 3547, Parents Data Sovereignty Act of 2026.
Say that bill number again.
3547, House Bill 3547.
I write these down with all good intent for going back and looking at them and putting them up on this
Yes.
on our group. So I'm going to write them down just on the extraordinary chance that it gets done. He had another bill actually that was really great, and I'm not going to remember what it was. But that bill would have gone through what committee, I wonder? I don't think it would have been Common Ed.
Well, they put it in rules, so you know.
Well, yeah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he had another one that was really good too. Well,
what was it about?
Well, don't ask me, because then I'm gonna.
That's something else. Sorry, that's something else that we see. Like we've seen that with House Bill 224 last year. Is they're bypassing the Education Committee to kind of throw us off the trail. So House Bill 224 last year didn't even go through an Education Committee at all.
Yeah, I remember you're right about
and
that.
it was an education bill.
Yeah, I don't remember what committee.
So it's important to.
I was thinking that I might have remembered what committee it was, but I'll have to go back and check. But you're right.
Yeah, and they do that with a lot of the bills. Is they won't even go through the correct committee, and then they'll get them passed, and so less people are tracking it.
Yeah,
because they think that we're stupid, but we see that a lot.
Well, and I don't even know that they think we're so stupid anymore as the fact that they know they've built this system to keep us out.
Yeah,
39 committees. No agendas posted online on the actual state legislative site. That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they built this system that just locks us out.
Right. And I agree.
I think they can do what they want because the chances of us finding out what they're doing are slim. Okay, ladies, because we're gonna have to start wrapping it up. So what do you think you want to do?
Oh, one more I want to mention I came across last night.
Oh,
and it has to for families. It's not so much about education or schooling, but it is House Bill 4124. And it actually had a committee hearing this morning at 9 a.m. I don't know that it passed, but it was about making ivermectin over the counter.
Oh, interesting.
And so I know that there's been several other states that have already done this, and then many others who have legislation pending. But making it where it's just something over the counter you could go pick up at your local pharmacy versus having to have a prescription. Now, I don't know what that looks like as far as, who's producing that version of ivermectin. So that would be a question I would have. But it's the fact that it's there and it's actually getting a hearing was interesting to me. So that was House Bill 4124 for anybody that wants to follow that. And I don't know if I can, check it out real quick or not. As far as
I was going to check it out too. I was going to go to All Bills on the website and see if I could
figure out if it actually passed committee or not.
I was just going to search it. It came right up.
Okay.
Was in public health at 9. Wow, this is the best. This is the most amazing website ever.
It did pass 5-1.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that is the most amazing website. That was the fastest thing to find. That dude who put this together is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use this for all of my things. I'm not even going to go back to using Legiscan.
Dana, one other thing on your site, I saw like, can I have my own login there to like track specific bills that just I want to track, like without having to filter through everything? Do I have the ability to do that?
No. Oh, can you track bills?
Yeah. So as a partner on there, yes, you get your own login. You can go in and review bills that, are interesting for you, as far as if it's your mission or just however you choose to do that. And then under your partner label, then yes, you would be able to go in and see the bills you reviewed. And anytime there's an update, the title stricken, an amendment, anything changes, you are notified in your dashboard that there was a change. So you could go back in and regrade the bill, and you either confirm your position or you can change your position at that time. So for instance, so what I did was, and anybody that's helping grade as far as Moms for Liberty is, if you see the shell bills, for example, go in and I click monitor on them, so that when there's a change, then we're notified of that amendment, because sometimes they sneak these things in last minute and we don't know.
Right.
And it's hard to keep up with on the legislative website. So, but this way, because I log in every day, multiple times, so it'll tell me, hey, this changed, and then I can go in as that partner that reviewed it and make the changes. Now, outside of that, there's always a search. You could search by verbiage or particular person. Some of the people that are coming in and grading are only grading for their legislators, and so they're all kind of set up differently, as far as how they're going in there to do that. But
you have to be on the partner side to get those notifications and have that kind of tracking ability.
Yes.
Well, maybe in the future, be nice just as a user if we could have some of that ability on the user side too. Not all of it, to that scope, but
I was going to say that might not be a bad thing to tell Michael, is to see if, you could just get a follow. There would be a way for just people who have a basic login, because for example, the state legislative website, you can set it up to be notified. So they do have a bill tracking system.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place. Sometimes I'd get them, sometimes I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know why it didn't or didn't work, or then they just throw me out of the system. It was weird. But that might be something that, people would just get a basic login. They don't have to grade the bills, but just a basic login to be able to at least put some together to watch or follow.
I'm sure that may be a feature that we could certainly add, whether it's, for next year or, just to try to get, try to get the basics of this built out for now. And then certainly, because I'm sure the partners will even have ideas as far as things we should add or take away for next session, that will be worked on in the off season. So that's definitely, I think that's a good idea, as far as that goes.
Oh, shoot. Catherine had a good question. Who helps the legislators write their bills? Do they write their own? Do any of them write their own?
So I think that some, yes, write their own, but they have to, they send it off and then for the legalese to do their thing. I know I've personally written some bills and sent it to, to legislators that they've then, had to send off for legalese, and then it comes back in the forms that we see now. So the answer is yes. I mean, but in many cases, if it's given to them, right? And so then that's how they become about. We've even heard some that say, well, I don't know, I haven't read it, because somebody else gave it to them, but they're not familiar with it because it was just handed to them,
one of the state agencies will request a bill,
right?
And so they write it for them and give it to them, or a special interest will request a bill and write it for them and give it to them. And yes, it is disappointing when you hear so many of these legislators say, I don't know, I haven't read it. How could you run it and not have read it?
How do you fight for it? Bill. Yeah, I mean, how do you even begin to argue or fight for that if you don't even know what it is?
Yeah.
So, You know, and I even know some of us, you know, we text back and forth with our legislators as they're on the floor. And, you know, sometimes they're really interested in the feedback and the information, and it affects how they vote. And then there's sometimes that they just flat out don't listen to you and they argue at every turn because, you know, of the special interest aspect, you know, or if it's, you know, a speaker bill, a pro tem bill, you know, like voting against those is like, you know, probably like political suicide, I would imagine in some cases, you know, so you have to be careful with that as well. Because you know, there's just a lot at stake. I mean, look what happens to people that buck the system. You know, you've got your Senator Jetts, you've got your Jim Shaws, you've got, you know, others who definitely buck the system,
And they
look
just
what
lock
happens
them
to them.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's still not enough of them to really have any effect. And so I'm hoping that changes, you know, come June, especially, you know, or at least starting to. And we've got some special elections that have gone on here in the last month or so. And then, you know, I think there might be more coming. But, you know, so just kind of something to keep in mind. I mean, they just, or go check their campaign finances. I mean, if you want to know who they're, you know, listening to, because unfortunately that's the case.
Well, because we've reported so many of them on this show that literally have nobody in their district giving them money.
Right. Right. Comes from out of state. You know, many cases, unfortunately. So
a special interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see here. Another one I wanted to point out was House Bill 4427. This is a Kyle Hilbert bill where it's about adjunct teachers, prohibiting adjuncts who do not hold a valid certificate to teach to instruct core curriculum classes from kindergarten to 4th grade. I don't know. To me, this one just doesn't really seem like you're making an issue that's not. I mean, because if school districts have a certified teacher option, they're going to go with the certified teacher route, right? They're using adjuncts or emergency certifieds in many cases to fill, you know, these gaps that they can't otherwise fill because there's not enough certifieds in that area, you know, or whatever the subject is. But this particular one was for pre-K through 4th grade. So if they're available, they're going to take them. They're not going to use these others over certified. So this one was just kind of silly to me, kind of making a problem that I don't know that's really there. Maybe in the rural communities, I mean, I can't imagine that the rural communities especially are using adjunct or emergency certified over certified. I mean, there's just shortages and you're trying to fill them, you know, how you can. So, and let me see here. Well,
and I was going to go into a rant about the certification process, but you were waiting, but we're running long, so I don't want to do that.
There is House Bill 3021. It's by Dick Lowe. It is being heard this afternoon in the Common Ed Committee. This one is about subject matter standards, standardized graduation requirements, alternatives, consolidation, rearrangement, in regards to business labor force endorsed diplomas. What this one does, at least it looks like it's education reform, but it's more like lowering the bar so we can meet the labor shortages. So so this definitely aligns with workforce development initiatives, as far as, you know, because I don't know how many times we heard it last session about the engineer example. You know, we heard it on the floor. We heard it in some of our meetings that we were having, you know, about this engineer example. So if you needed engineers in Oklahoma, what do you have to do? You have to increase math scores. You have to increase, you know, these different things in order to attract those people to come to the state in order to fulfill the need for, example, engineers. And so this was nothing more than just lowering standards, reshaping them through a waiver process that allow for alternative alternative diplomas, that prioritizes labor over academics.
Oh my goodness.
So Dick Lowe is the chair of that committee, so it's probably gonna pass.
Oh,
but,
well, yeah.
So these are, and when you think about these bills that are here pending committees versus the ones they won't even give a hearing to, the ones that the people are really asking for, that we have legislators there who are fighting for us for these bills.
That have 2 signatures in 48 hours?
Yes. Can't even, so that should be very telling to people and something to definitely remember, as you're going to the ballot box. So, because they're not, it's not about what's best for us or, what we're asking for. So, just something to consider we're not even to the floor part of the session yet. We're still in committee. So, so it'll be interesting, I'm sure, on the floor, but, we'll just see. It's like a repeat of last session almost.
Except worse, because we have more committees and it's less transparent.
Worse, yeah. Yeah, definitely worse, I would definitely think. But, these citizen petitions, the people really seem to respond to those. And so that may be definitely something to, for groups to consider as far as if they're trying to get some attention on something, or they want to be able to say, hey, we have a citizen petition of X signatures. Because in some cases they've got a lot of reach, and they can get those thousands of signatures that speak. They speak volumes when you can get that much, feedback from people that support that bill or whatever the initiative is that they're trying to get attention on. So, and other than that, I would just encourage people to try to use this site. Look up your legislator, see what they have filed. Eventually, you can go look at their votes as far as some of these, if they've already had a hearing. And then the contact buttons will come where you can reach out to them directly and ask them questions about their bill. Why did they run it? Who asked them to run it? What are they hoping to accomplish? Because as I'm seeing, there's legislators who are so passionate about some of these bills and why they filed them, but they won't hear anything like, if it's aligning with, 2030 agenda, workforce development, like some of these things that they just don't even want to hear, but they are very real. They are very much happening. If, the bills were created in 2021, there was a change in 24, and now you have another one in 26. This is like, we're taking away this so we can add more regulation for this. That's not freedom. That's not, and for these, especially for small businesses, their margins are already so small that, more regulation, you're eventually going to regulate them out of business. And then,
Correct.
What they were using to be able to stay home with their kids, supplement their, then they won't be able to do that anymore. But trying to get people who are so passionate about something to hear that sometimes just doesn't work. But it doesn't mean we don't try.
No, absolutely.
So, but it's definitely going to be another interesting session for sure. So we'll definitely keep following.
Well, and you've made it literally as easy as possible, Dayna. Congratulations. And I know you don't want to take all the credit. There's a whole group deal, but you've literally made it as easy as possible to get engaged, follow these deals, ask some questions, contact people. Can't make it much more simplified than the process is right now.
Yeah. Well, we hope that's made it easier. That was the goal, making it easier to get more people involved.
And let me point out, this isn't like going to another website. It's just for Oklahoma. It's just Oklahoma legislation. So,
correct.
Roberta, anything before we get out of here?
No.
Well,
we're good.
You're right.
I do want to say one more thing about Roberta, though, before we go. Roberta did a presentation about being 50th in education. She has a video of that presentation that she just did last week, I believe, at her county GOP meeting. That's on her candidate Facebook page. I know it's there, but you can go watch that, and she'll talk about some of the reasons of why they're saying we're 50th, but it's quite deceptive. So definitely check it out.
Numbers can say what you want. Hey,
Well,
Roberta, say what your campaign is, please, where they can find you.
So I am a candidate for House District 27, which is Potawatomi and Cleveland counties. It's Danny Sterling's district. He is an incumbent, so it's going to be difficult. Also on the presentation, we'll be also giving the presentation at the voter. What is it called, Dayna?
Voter education event. It'll be on March 28th.
Yes, that same presentation if you want to come and see it in person.
Where's that going to be? Do you know
It'll
yet,
be that'll be at Liberty Church in Yukon. It'll be from 10 to 2. We will be providing lunch.
And it's the voter education workshop.
Yes.
Yeah. And basically in that presentation, I break down why it's impossible for us to be 50th in education and what the panic is, the money behind it, the data behind it. I break down all of it. So that's on that presentation. And then, we talked about Senate Bill 224 and our data, but the federal government already has a grant for us to enter into sharing our data. And the last time we held that grant, we were 25th or 26th. And so it just goes to show you that the more data that you share, the higher we rank in education. And I mean, you can't rank us anyway, but the more data that we share, the higher we rank. And so that's what that presentation goes into.
Yep. Yikes. All right. And what is your Facebook page?
Roberta Lewis for House District 27 is my Facebook page. My website is lewisfor27.com. And that's it.
Awesome. Ladies, you're the bombs. You are collectively the bomb, but individually you're bombs. You're the bombs. And Karen actually put it on here. So just for those of us who like to read things and hear them, just can't tell you how much we appreciate you being on and for everything that you do, and just love you guys. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having us. All
right. We'll talk to you soon. And thanks for everything. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I love them so much.
Awesome couple ladies there.
They are awesome. We've got Michael Hall, who's in the wings. He's going to help me do a little thing on the Liberty, Oklahoma conference at the end of this month. So we're going to talk about that, but I want you to finish what you were talking about, Michael, before we do you, Michael, not the other Michael.
Okay. So I want to show two things.
Okay. Show me.
Let me get this page up. So first I'm going to show the robot technology over in China.
Okay.
And then I'm going to show, so we don't have to watch. Yeah, we don't have to watch I can't see my thing here. Okay. Then I want to show just a brief little deal on AI video production, which I hope actually is going to put Hollywood out of business. But I just want to show, and I'm only showing this because of the advancement, how fast AI is advancing. And we'll look at that. But both these, we'll only play a minute or so of each one of these.
All right.
So anyway, this is, so these are all robots here down the bottom. These are kids up here at the top. So these aren't like full size. They've got some full size humans in this, but this was for the celebration of the Chinese New Year. Okay. And this is from Reuters, from China's TV. But watch these robots here.
Oh, help me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my
So anyway, that's just a
goodness.
minute there, but I'm telling you, it's so much more advanced than what we see here and what we think. And yes, that's people programming these. That's not autonomous. They didn't just get together these robots and say, "Hey, let's
Right.
choreograph our own deal." But
Right.
just think of the application of those things, Jenny. And I'm like, you go down the military path. What's the most effective things the military has now? They've got all these drones and they've got all these, flightless, like the Predators and all those things like that.
Yeah.
This is just another little aspect. You could have one human, commanding an entire, platoon of these things in some capacity. But I'm just saying they're a lot more agile. They're a lot more nimble. They're going to be able to do a lot of things. Do I want one of these to come to my house and pick weeds and do dishes? Yeah, great. Sure, I'd love that. But, is that going to be the application of these? No, it's not going to be. And so, when AI comes along, so I want to show you one other thing. So, I was doing all the memes of you a while back and, all this. It's so much fun. I think everybody
So much fun for you.
Yeah. It was pretty fun for me. But remember just a year ago, like if you're not familiar with using AI to generate images or some video, just a year ago, you couldn't even get a person without distorted face, 5 or 6 or 7 fingers. There was all kinds of idiosyncrasies.
Right.
This is a little, so you've got some software that's coming out, and I can't think of the name of this software, but it's basically AI video production.
Okay.
These guys here, the Door Brothers, this is their most recent release, and they do all these little short stories, but this is all AI, and it's literally, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's going to write, and all you do is, you've got some people that are just creating prompts. They're telling the AI what to create. AI creates it. So outside of you just prompting this system to create this, you may have probably to produce this deal would be $100 worth of compute. That's what you'd pay for the AI to compute to make this. So, this whole clip.
Okay, besides the water and the
but I mean it's extremely inexpensive compared to if you go to Hollywood to have this production value.
Sure.
Which I don't have a problem with this. I'd like to be able to make, produce my own music, produce my own shows, produce my own books, whatever it is. I'd like to do that myself without the corporatocracy.
Making your
if you
own
go to YouTube, you can look up the Door Brothers, DOR, and this is their latest film, the short Apex. Anyway, just watch this. Just watch this for a second. So you've got some kind of, event where asteroids or something's coming in, and this girl's trying to get to her daughter, basically. Oh, it's a geomagnetic storm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, is that very real? No, but the rest of it with the girl, all the explosions, all the action, all the stuff she does it's literally insane.
Oh goodness.
And the only reason why I'm putting this on here is because, Jenny, a year ago, this wasn't, you couldn't do this. You couldn't do this a year ago. And now it's not that indistinguishable from a real person. You can still tell it's AI in some capacity, but it's getting closer. I mean, just think, 3 or 4 or 5 years from now, where this technology is going to be.
Yeah.
And in the vein of this, so while this is playing, I just want to make another comment. So
I can tell you how we know it's AI. She's running in those heels. I'm just saying.
And she gets in a Tesla, and the Tesla is making motor sounds. That's the only real, that's the big check mark for me, is your Tesla wouldn't be making, combustible engine sounds. But while this is playing, I want you to think about something. We, like Dayna and Roberta, we were just talking right at the end of the podcast about, that legislation that promotes labor more than it promotes the academics for engineers. Right. I can tell you, Jenny, I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but we in our office here, we look at these investments. Okay.
Yeah.
We've looked at them for the last 4 or 5 years now. White collar jobs are going to be decimated by AI in some capacity. By the time you get kids up to speed to be real engineers in the future, AI is going to take that over. AI is going to take over all these white collar jobs. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just what I see, especially with as fast as these things are going. Anyway, we can turn this off. Eventually, she does get her daughter. She saves her daughter. She goes over to the school, saves her daughter, and
you mean the school let her take him out? Take her out?
The school actually let her take her out. But I like that.
Oh, that's
I mean, I don't mind. Okay, I don't mind the AI video production side because if we can literally remove Hollywood from the equation of entertainment, and you've got independent people like me and you or whoever, the Door Brothers creating cool movies, that you can watch, pay $1 for, whatever. I mean, I like that. I like the competition. Plus, Hollywood's a satanic pedophile cult.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, the whole thing is.
But the robots and the AI, I just want to show that it's not slowing down. It's going exponentially faster, and it's going to get better and better and better, in the coming years. And our education system is so bad, it's so broken. In my opinion, I don't think we can teach these kids to catch up. I mean, that's just me. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. I've got 5 kids. I'm trying to figure out, just how we can, be a part of the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's going to require a lot of discussion and talking to, people who are actually interested in our kids and what our future is, and not just making money from technology. So I think that's the bottom line. Well, I'm going to bring on my friend Mike, and we're going to talk a little bit about the hey Mike, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? I am Mike with the PT Pod. Sorry. Not just my friend Mike.
Oh, sorry.
No,
okay.
But anyway.
All right. Okay.
I make a joke. Hey, what's up, Mike with Rope Report? I've watched you for so long. It's so cool to finally be on a podcast with you, man.
Well,
it's really
thanks.
cool to be sharing the screen. How are you, sir?
Well, great. And thank you so much for helping us get information out about the Liberty, Oklahoma conference coming up at the end of the month.
Absolutely. Shout out to all my folks that I told to tune in that are tuning in. They're excited because, normally the earliest I go is 2 p.m. our time, noon West Coast. So, yeah. Can Mike hear me? Can you hear me?
Michael?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just saying it's nice to meet you, man. I've watched you for a long time.
Oh, yes,
like,
sir.
It's cool to put, to actually say hello to you because I watched you for a long time. We've even featured some Rope Report stuff on our channel here on Rumble. Just because you guys do such great work, and normally I'm working nationally. Like last night I had somebody from Madrid, Spain. Somebody from Mississippi. A pastor from Moore, Oklahoma, and a couple of shows. So, all over the place. But being local and working locally and get to knowing local folks and what you guys are doing is so important, and you guys are rock stars. I've been bothering Jenny for a while as well. So yeah, I just want to send a shout out to all my folks and want to thank you guys so much for what you do. It's just really important, and working on a national level, I really realized that a local level was a thing, and something God put on my heart last year was focused this year on becoming a 10-mile man. And what that means is we can get upset about things thousands of miles away from us, but something Jenny does and you do that I think it's important everyone do. And that's become the kind of person who genuinely is invested in the 10 miles around your front door.
Yeah, for sure.
And and there are people we all know that will spend hours this week complaining about national politics that they have nothing to do with and invest hours in that, but do nothing locally, won't show up for a meeting or anything like that. So
or vote.
No, right? They don't even know when their election day is on special elections. They don't.
That's
I mean,
true.
I think, I don't want to be that guy, but I swear it really benefits certain folks for the regular everyday folks not to know how the wheels of government turn. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. Seriously. So yeah, it's it was on my heart to be a 10-mile man, to try to do that. So that's why working with you guys is so important and why I've been a fan for so long. I'm excited. I wanted to I thought you were going to leave those girls on because one of them is going to be at the thing. Yeah.
Oh, she is. And I totally forgot about that. And then she got off. Yeah. Roberta is going to be at the Liberty Conference next. She's going to be one of our speakers, and she's going to be she's going to tell people how to use CapCut, which is a little program, little app, you can get it on your phone. And she makes some of the funniest videos to highlight some of the dumbest stuff that our legislature is doing. And she's phenomenal at it. So she's going to be there next week to tell people how to do what she does, because the more of us that are doing it, the better off we are, the further out it gets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. CapCut is a great program. There are a few of those out there. The Grok one as well that we love. The one I was able to do with you. Those are fun too. Have you seen those, Mike? Those are amazing. Yeah. It's scary nowadays. What I'm concerned about is look at where it is now and how far it's come in a year, right? So the next presidential election, what are we going to be seeing and how are we going to really be knowing anything is true? If I can take a still image of you and have you telling the world how much you love me in an animated video from your Facebook profile picture, if you will, it's going to be a very interesting thing. So that's one thing I'm excited about on the Liberty Conference is learning this tech, because it's something that I feel like, it's more conservative, independent folks have fallen behind on. And I think it's so important that people come talk to folks like you, talk to folks like, our featured speakers, and learn how to do some of this stuff. I just think it's really important. Let me see here. I wanted to share this screen with you there. Boom. Here we go. Can you pull that one up for me?
Yep.
Let's see. Are we getting the whole thing? No, hold on. I thought I had it dialed in. There we go. Okay. So I just wanted to pull this stuff up because I wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions here.
Sure.
This is new stuff that just went out. Now, if I was going to get tickets today, I get 30% off with the code 30 off. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and where
you have to do get 30 off, basically, is your code. And if you do get 30 off, you get 30% off your tickets. And that means either a 2-day ticket or the full 3-day ticket.
Okay, cool. So there's an option for a 2-day and a 3-day ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so is the 2 days Friday and Saturday? And Sunday?
Yes, the 2 days, Friday and Saturday, and the 3-day is Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday morning.
Okay. So for those that may not know, the event, the Liberty Conference, starts on Thursday evening improper officially and goes through Saturday evening. Is that correct?
Saturday morning, actually.
Saturday morning.
Because we were going to do a little longer on Saturday by adding the Pike Off OTA documentary Access Denied on Saturday and play it on Saturday, but then we decided to move it to Friday. So Friday night, we also have now something that you can do, which we're calling Dinner and a Movie. So if you don't want to come to the whole conference, which we wish you would, but if you don't, you can come to just get a nice chicken dinner at Okana and watch the Access Denied documentary with us. And it's phenomenal. And I just wish you would do it and come. And if that's all you can do, come to Okana Friday night at 6 p.m. And for $35, you can get a nice chicken dinner and watch the whole documentary, Access Denied.
That is great. And then they can also get to know you and other local media folk, independent media folk, and independent politicians. So basically, you guys are the last ones with our best interest at heart. So you can, excuse me, get a great movie, get a great dinner, and meet the local independent people fighting the good fight still.
Absolutely.
That's a great deal. That's a great deal. If I wasn't already involved, I'd be calling my wife and setting it up. Let's go. Also, you guys need a machine that does that for you.
That's right. I forget about those sounds.
You know, Mike, I think you are
amazing.
But Jenny, you are
incredible.
But Mike, you are
outstanding.
Jenny, I said you were
amazing.
And I meant it. Okay, so guys, what I want to do here. However,
but you don't have to take my word for it.
So what I'm saying is, I know it's weird for you guys to have fun on your show, but
we never have any fun, do we, Michael?
That's why
mainly
you
at the
wouldn't let me
expense
on.
of legislators.
What's funny, Mike, is I've been trying to get on this show for like over a year, and I had to literally volunteer and sign up for the event. And it's so frustrating because we'll tune in. It's like, there's a guy in Tennessee who makes apple cider. It's so important. I'm like, I'm local. I do 9 shows a week. I get flown to New York to produce shows, but for some reason, I don't make apple cider in Tennessee. Okay, I made the joke with Jenny. I was like, I'm going to start making apple cider so you will have me on your show because I'm so excited. I'm such a fan. I want to work with you guys so bad. So, but then this is such a blessing. Having over 20 years of live experience all over the United States, I'm really, really happy to be a part of this. So I just wanted people to know, ask some questions, that kind of thing. Hey, Sarah, in the chat there. So Sarah's going to be there as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the speakers that you have lined up? And let me pull that graphic up as well.
Yeah, we really, honestly, we do have some great speakers. And the way the conference is actually set up is if you don't know anything at all about getting involved in politics at any level, this is the conference for you, because you can learn everything from like how to read a bill. How do you go talk to a legislator? I remember when I started out, I was like embarrassed to go talk to a legislator. I was kind of nervous. You think there are these, like, I don't know. It was kind of nerve wracking, and I didn't know what I was really saying or what I was supposed to say or any of these kinds of things. And so we actually have a speaker for that. That's going to teach you how to interact with your legislators. What do you say? How do you make an appointment? I mean, just all those kinds of things. Our friend Katie Smith from Visit, who's going to be on Friday on our show on Friday, she's going to come and she's going to talk about independent journalism and how you can become an independent journalist yourself. And one of the things that is so important about independent journalism right now, as everybody well knows, our journalists aren't telling us what's going on, and they're certainly not telling us the parts that are important. And if you don't follow an independent journalist, then you really don't know what's going on. You have no actual idea what's going on, which is why Katie's so important, which is why the Oklahoma Lion is so important. It's why the Oklahoma State Capitol with Jason Murphy is so important. I mean, we have, I could go on. There's a huge list of independent journalists out there who have gotten involved. And we want to teach you how to become an independent journalist too, because you're the person who's going to be able to spread that information yourself. And it's not as though, well, Rope's got a lock on that, or the domestic, I forget what they call themselves. It's not domestic divas. It's, I can't remember. But it's not like they have a lock on anything. The more of us that are out there bringing this information to light, the more it gets out, the more people understand about it. Then we're also going to have Andrew Spino, who used to be a journalist with Fox, and he's going to come and talk about how you deal with the media. How do you talk to the media if you're actually at a rally or something and the media comes up and talks to you? What's the best way to talk to them? How do you help them talk? How do you give them information that's going to help your cause? So he's going to be there to talk about that. We have, OK2A, Don Spencer is going to be there. Trenton Rippey from Young Americans with Liberty is going to be there talking about how to talk to your legislators. Nan Clinton is going to, from Stop Industrial Solar. She's our friend from the Enid Conservation Coalition, and she's going to be there to talk about how you engage people to get involved in your activities. And Brian Logan, he just ran for Senate. He's going to be there to talk about how you actually engage your community to become elected. We actually have Holly Gerard who's going to come talk about how you become a candidate and how you run as a candidate, because we've got to have people who are running, and we still have time to get candidates involved in February before they actually even have to sign up in March, or in May. So, and the primary elections in Oklahoma are June 16th. So we just got a lot of great people who are going to be there. I'm going to talk a little bit about election integrity, and so is Wendy Dial. Jana Belcher's going to come talk a little bit about homeschooling. So we just have all kinds of different people that are going to be there giving you information you may not know, but that is going to help you be able to hit the ground running and get started through the rest of this legislative session and on into elections to June 16th and the primary on into November of this year.
That is great stuff. I love that. Thank you. This sounds like a lot of work. What's the vision? Why? Right? So what's the vision behind this? Getting this group of folks together, providing this information and communication for people and with local folks.
Well, it's
what was the goal?
Well, it's to come together. I mean, we have had so much infighting. We've had so many people who, I mean, we're just kind of being torn together as a people. And we're getting distracted because there's always something coming at us from one place to another. And we just seem to be, it's so hard to focus. And it's just like what you said a minute ago, Mike, it's all under our feet. This is where we make the most difference, is where we are, under our feet. And if people don't understand how to capitalize on that, then we're in real trouble. And so the whole idea initially was to get together some of these activist groups that we've had longstanding relationships. Some of us, it's a lot of fun for us to get together, but it's also a lot of fun to get new people involved too, and young people involved. It's just very important that we meet each other, we connect, because the more we can connect with each other, the smaller the problems become, because more hands, less work, right? So that's the whole idea behind the entire conference. Learn
Absolutely.
What to do where you are that's going to make a difference where you are, to the people where you are.
I love that. And that is so important, that we understand more hands make lighter work. And in addition to that, at the end of the day, we're in a numbers game. Whoever gets the most votes wins, hopefully, still, assuming. But,
I know, assuming.
Or, I don't know, are we in Stalinist
that
era?
wasn't the case in Arizona, so yes.
Yeah, is it Mussolini or Stalin that said, it's not about who votes, it's about who counts the votes. So, but anyway, we at the end of the day, assuming we are in a numbers game, and that if we get the most motivated voters out there, recruiting other voters, advertising, nowadays we're in a different world because everyone has a billboard, right? That is their social media page. Everyone, is amplified, maybe too much, but everyone is amplified. Everyone has a voice. And I find it's so valuable when folks focus the way you, Michael, have focused, and the way your guests have focused on a local situation, instead of complaining about something that's happening a million miles away, or, with these folks over here, because, man, we see a lot of real estate online with local folks complaining about international issues.
Yeah.
But they couldn't tell you the last special election we had in their county, or who their county commissioner, or maybe even who their mayor is, for that matter, right? So I found, when I discovered y'all, maybe, I don't know, year and a half ago, I discovered, wow, there is a important, vibrant, and sometimes extremely corrupt situation happening right here in my own state. Yes. And people aren't involved. You're not encouraged to be involved. It's like the state should be paying us because of how involved we get the folks, unless you're left with the idea that the state does not benefit from having the people involved, for lack of a better way to say it. So that's like, wow, that's amazing to go, wait, our elected officials and the people that in Oklahoma, where we have some extremely high, it blows other people away from out of state, certain states that we pay taxes on our food. And we have one of the highest sales taxes on food in the United States. So combined with one of the lowest costs of living, oddly. So go figure, right?
It's
Highest
true.
tax, lowest cost of means you get less money and higher. Anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, these things are important. It's important to understand and realize a lot of the folks, you know, at the state capitol down in Oklahoma City don't have our best interest at heart. And it's so important to work with folks like you and listen to the folks that we're bringing in, your, you know, Don Spencers, your Jason Murphys, your Dean Sharps, Roberta Lewis, you know, folks like that. Even old Jenny White. We know Jenny White. Let's go. I'm excited about it. So Thursday's the meet and greet. And
Thursday night is the meet and greet, right?
Friday's the big, heavy loaded day of all the days. If you can make it one day of all 3 days,
yes,
Friday's the day to make it. Because that's when most of the speakers are going to be speaking and things like that. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of the schedule on Friday?
I can actually, maybe. All right, here we go. And you can, if you go to libertyoklahoma.org, it's all one word, libertyoklahoma.org, you can find the actual schedule and look it up. But on Thursday, we're just going to have a whole bunch of groups. Thursday night, it'll start about 5 o'clock. We'll have a lot of groups. OK2A, Moms for Liberty, Eagle Forum, Team Pact, Young Americans for Liberty. Some homeschooling groups will be there. Pike Off OTA and Citizens for Responsible Transportation. Our friend Mick Rosado, who is also an independent journalist, is going to be there at NEAN with the Garfield County Conservation Coalition. And we're just going to, from about 8 to 9, we're going to listen to these groups talk and tell us what they do and how we can get involved with their organization. And that's so important because so many of us don't even know who these people are and where they are and what we can do to get involved. So then the next morning at about 9 o'clock, we're going to start, and NEAN's going to tell us how to become active on a local level. Dean Sharp's going to tell us a little bit about brigades, which is a very interesting concept that I'm not going to go through right now. You're going to have to buy a ticket and come and listen to that. But it's an interesting concept that you can do in your own backyard. Then we're going to talk about how to become a candidate for elective office and what it takes to run a campaign. And then we're going to talk about the basic legislative structure and function. How does that work? How to interact with your legislator. How do you vet a candidate for elective office? That's a really good one too, because we just talked about that today with Roberta and Dayna. It's hard for people to know what questions to ask to a person who's running for an elective office to get the answers that you really need to know about whether or not they need to be elected. So that's something that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, shout out Roberta because she's running in Cleveland County, correct?
No, she's running in Pottawatomie County.
Oh, Pot County.
Yeah, Pot County. Then we're going to have a social media piece where my friend Christy Ekenhall and then Roberta are going to talk about how you can make Facebook posts, how you can engage the media in particular issues that you want to make sure that people get involved in. So it's nice to be able to do it instead of just sharing. Sharing is important on social media, but it's nice to be able to do it yourself. And then to kind of round out that day, Andrew Spino and Katie Smith are going to talk about how you use the media to your advantage and how you can become an independent journalist. And so then after that, we're going to have dinner and a movie. So that's Friday.
It's that independent journalist thing is interesting. And as you were talking, I was thinking about all of the things you're providing. Now, on a national level, not so much on a local level because, you know, we are a more conservative state. But on a national level, Democrats, and specifically and especially far left Democrats, are doing a great job of this. Okay, I know because I've I've infiltrated. I've paid attention. For those who don't know, I was heavily involved in politics for a couple of years to, help get Trump elected. Traveled around the country, so I can tell you the Antifa training, things like this are extremely real and happen all over the country. And the problem, can I tell you what I see as the main problem here? And that is that they show up for these things. Okay.
Yeah.
When they have a Jenny White working on her level and all of these folks willing to show up and do the thing and educate and be involved, and more importantly than just do the thing, a lot of these folks are counting on you to show up and be interested and care about your community. And if you do, they will show up alongside of you. Once again, many hands, lighter work, and the numbers equal the power. So
Right.
With that in mind, it's so important that people do something to counter. You can't just sit and watch Fox News and your favorite conservative podcaster and, fight with somebody on Facebook and think you're really doing something for the cause. That's not how, unfortunately, it's not how it works.
Right.
You have to get up. You have to get up out of your chair to affect things locally. You have to show up for things like this. Now, I don't know, and I've been looking. I don't think there's anything else like this all year with this concentration of independent, specifically non-party affiliated, non-paid for by some interest group coming together to build, to make people aware, to get people involved. And I don't think there's anything else like this going on this year. I feel like that's why it's so important people show up.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why we invented it in the first place, because there just wasn't anything like this that would give people a really great background in how to take back the ground under their feet. So, and let me tell you what, so on Saturday, we just have morning, and in the morning, we're going to have an actual legislator panel, and we're going to have a number of different legislators that are going to be involved. Shane Jett, Kendall Sacchieri, Jim Shaw, Molly Jenkins, Tom Gann, Gabe Woolley are going to be just on a panel where they're going to talk about the most important things about this 2026 session. And they'll let us ask some questions and we can kind of interact with them about that. And I think it's going to be very instructive for people who may not be following to know kind of what the underlying issues are there at the Capitol that we're not really hearing. And then after that, we're just going to kind of close everything out, talking about elections in Oklahoma and how do you protect the liberty into the future? Well, if you really want to do it, it's to take your kids out of public school and homeschool. So that's kind of the last thing that we're going to talk about as we close out the conference. And then by about 11:50, you'll be done and on your own and be ready to go back to your house. Well informed with how to take back the ground under your feet.
Unless you want to mingle. And then by all means, make sure
Absolutely.
you keep lots of notes all weekend. And as Jenny's trying to leave, stop her and hold her for like half an hour. Bring some friends over with their own notes and questions. Because she's available to like 5 or 6 Sunday night. Anyway, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Speaking of elections, I'm glad we got into that. You yourself are running in an election currently. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. I'm running for my state representative, running against the one that's currently there in District 36. And yes, I absolutely am.
Did you want to tell us a little bit about your run? When can we vote for you if we wanted to vote for you? Who can vote for you? I know you're running on the Republican ticket.
Right. I'm running on the Republican ticket. So it will only be Republicans and only people in HD 36, which is a very thin, interesting district that's in far eastern Oklahoma County that basically covers all of eastern Oklahoma County with a few parts into Arcadia, Jones, Choctaw, and then it goes all the way up into Cleveland County a little bit. So, and touches Norman of all things. So that's where my district is. Yeah.
We're big Norman folks here. So
yes. So it touches you a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that's I think that's what you asked me, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, hey, I'll tell you, one of the reasons you inspired me is Norman government just got so bad. I mean, I kind of discovered you right on the tail end of the Bria Clark mess, if you know anything about that.
Yes.
Which, side note, and this is something I actually thought of you 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, at a city council meeting. Former mayor, ousted Mayor Bria Clark, was receiving an award for her humanitarian efforts in Norman. I was like, this woman laundered money, completely subverted the will of the people. We almost impeached her, yet the city council is giving her an award 2 years later for her humanitarian. Why is she still in our town? Why did we not run her out on a rail, right? So anyway, that is a small piece. I wanted to point that out as a small piece of if you think that's crazy, wait till you talk to Jenny, right? If you think that's crazy, you need to watch the Rope Report. Come to the event, because that is not scratching the surface, you know. And I know in Norman we maybe deal with a little bit of crazy liberalism, but the crooked cronyism, good old boy backroom politics that kind of controls our state and ultimately our life to a certain degree. That is that is what you've opened our eyes to. And what I want to, you know, and the next step after opening your eyes is being involved and trying to work towards the change. That's why I'm here in Cleveland County and Norman City proper, trying to do the same thing, working with, you know, trying to get better city council people in. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is learning from you. Oh, we're over time. Learning from you and the whole crew, how we're going to do that. So, yeah, Mike, are you going to be there at all any of the days?
I'll be there. I won't be presenting or anything, but I will be there.
Oh, we're going to kick it, man. Save me a seat. You know what I mean? I'll bring the whiskey. You bring the wine. We'll have a good time.
You probably better not say that about O'Connor, but I'm just saying.
I haven't drank in 8 years. You should come on my podcast. It's fun. We have fun. So, but anyway, it's important. What we're doing is important. And I just wanted to really thank you. I also wanted to let you know, I've talked to a couple of businesses that I know that are going to or want to provide merch, just free giveaway merch, you know, t-shirts, hats, koozies, stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to try to make sure that that is available here for anyone who comes. A couple of giveaway swag bags, stuff like that. All the benefits we can put together for the people that show up, because I think, you know, that's so. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that was all I really had, other than, you know, when can I actually come on your show? How much apple cider do I need to make? How angry at the government and sense of humorless do I need to be?
April, I promise.
Hold on, let's try this. Rah, Kevin Stitt, rah! Now, can I come on?
No. I did want to point out, I mean, Sarah says, and it's true. I mean, part of the reason why, you know, we're doing that this year is we have such huge elections coming up this November. I mean, we have an election for governor, and it's a huge thing. And also, too, it's really important to remember that Saturday morning we'll be at the conference, but Saturday night, there's going to be a very large gubernatorial, I wouldn't call it a debate. It's going to be a forum, gubernatorial forum, that the Oklahoma GOP is going to have. So that's something that everybody needs to be aware of as well for that Saturday night, because we have got to pick the right governor this time. And we don't have the ability to make a wrong choice here. So please come if you can. Please get tickets immediately, because we're going to have to start cutting off tickets on the 24th. So next Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday. And then we're not even going to have them at the door. So if you don't get them now, they're going to be gone. So take the time, grab your tickets. If you can't go, or, you know, just are unable to, mention it to your friends, somebody else who might be interested, and get them interested, because that's what's so important, is getting people there so that we all learn together. And there you go.
I love that. I love that to death. And I just wanted to thank you. Run through a couple of these real fast. We got talking. I definitely want these visuals to be here as you were speaking of them. I'm so excited. And then O'Connor, what a wonderful place to have it. Thank you for having the foresight to choose that venue. I think a lot of people haven't had a chance to go there yet. So to
It's
people
a
that are
beautiful
passionate,
place. It really
Yeah,
is. Very cool.
so, and then did you want to shout out the sponsors? Shout out, you did a great job of.
Yeah, we did have some great sponsors, and we're so grateful to them. And so make sure that you note who those are: Classical Conversations, Eagle Forum, and that's the National Eagle Forum. But we also have the State Eagle Forum, who's going to come, and our friend Carolyn McClarty is going to present on Thursday night to kind of tell you, because they are working at the Capitol and they are meeting, so you definitely want to be there and hear what they're doing. Moms for Liberty, Pike Off OTA, of course. Our friend Ashley Dodd, who is helps people with Medicaid, Medicare. Oklahoma's for Responsible Transportation, and Nian Clinton, who is also going to be presenting on Thursday night. She also has a real estate business, so look her up because she is a military mom, and she's very well engaged with the process of finding people homes in not just Oklahoma, but if they have to be deployed to other states, or you just have to move, or you want to move, look her up. She's great help, and she can help you on that. So yes, those are our sponsors. We're very grateful to them. You still have time to sponsor if you'd like. We're still happy to take a sponsorship. But again, you have to do it super fast, and you can do that by sending a contact note through libertyoklahoma.org, and it will say, would you like to be a sponsor? Click the button and you can fill that out and send it in, and we'll look at it.
Love that. And if that's a lot, they probably, if they know how to get to you, they can just message you and you'll guide them through that process if they want to be a sponsor, right?
Bingo.
So
thank everybody for being on with us today. Really appreciate it. We'd love to see you at the conference again. It's next week. I can't even believe that we're saying that. It's next week, Thursday night, Friday, all day, and Saturday morning. So 26th through the 28th at Okana. You can sign up and get your tickets at libertyoklahoma.org, and we hope to see you there.
Excellent. And hey, I'm one of your people, the people you reach out to, the people that you say, hey, get involved, make this important. I'm someone who produces shows for a living, produces live events for a living. And you guys, thank you, Mike, as well. You guys have touched me, reached out to me, motivated and encouraged me to get involved. So I'm living proof of what you're doing. It's amazing and it works. So thank you. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being with us. And we will see you again on Friday when we will be having Katie Smith with us from V1SUT to talk about her latest work. And I don't think you're going to be happy. So bring probably your mad face and maybe some Kleenex. And we'll see you again on Friday morning at 9 a.m. Thanks for being here.
Build more toll roads.
Stay away! OTA!
Hundreds of families thrown out of their homes. Hundreds of homes destroyed.
If anyone tells you these turnpikes are a done deal, you tell them no. These turnpikes are a dead deal.
The best case scenario, this turnpike gets stopped.